Hi guys, it's me. I am here to show you a tutorial on how I redo a Monster High doll for my friend. Now, a lot of the steps that I do here aren't going to be completely shown because quite frankly there are other YouTubers who do a much better job at showing that. This is just a quick overview for her so that she can specifically see how hers was made. Anyway, I started with a Claudine Monster High doll and she had gorgeous brown hair. But like most dolls, it's gotten tangled and messy and frizzy over time. So right now I'm just giving it a hot water bath and brushing out all those big tangles. And as you can tell, it's already starting to look a whole lot better. So I'm going to set her over here to dry while I finish making the wig cap that the hair is going to go onto on her actual doll. The doll I'm going to be using to repaint for her is, I think it's the Paris Draculara doll because of the face shape. And here I'm just showing you the clothes. There's a skirt with a light pink underskirt, a shirt, and of course we are going to take care of these lovely pink arms. Now these arms have blue buttons that are raised as well as some type of cord or rope looking thing that's on the arms. So first off, being very careful, I'm going to take my sharp X-Acto knife and I'm going to gently shave off those raised buttons. That way, even if the paint that I end up using to paint over this comes off, it's still at least more of a smooth arm surface. And I did try to find other arms that would fit her arm sockets better, so I didn't have to do this step, but I honestly love keeping the doll a whole piece when I can, and I know that my friend will love that instead of using new pieces, I've just redone and loved on the old one a bit more. So after I've cut off those raised edges, I'm going to gently sand down everything with a nail buffer. This is going to give some friction for my chalks and my paint to stick to, as well as the sealant that'll help keep it on. Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize. There are going to be moments when my hands are off screen. It's really hard for me right now to figure out how to get my camera close enough for you to see details and stay in focus. So bear with me, it's something I'm learning. One thing I do love about redoing Monster High dolls is most of them are very easy to take apart. Their arms pop off, their hands pop off, the bottom part of their legs. It's super easy if you have a missing part, usually, to find something that fits. So I love that about them. Oh, and interesting fact, I knew nothing about Monster High before I met my friend. She's actually the one who got me started watching them, and from there, that's where I found out you can customize the dolls. So now I was just undressing the doll and getting ready for the next step. But we've still got to finish poor Claudine's hair. To make it extra soft and supple, I'm going to put a little bit of fabric softener in a bowl, and I'm going to let her set for a few minutes while I work on the shirt. Now, you saw that before already made and on her, but I filmed this in sections, so I'm trying to put it in order as much as I can for you. And you're not going to see me do her skirt because that was trial and error. But here I am just hand stitching tiny stitches all over to make her shirt. I actually really liked the shirt. It came out very well. It's more of like almost a crop top shirt underneath her skirt, but has nice white ribbing. Now back to the wig cap. I've cut off some of the excess and I'm just drawing around the ears on the parts that I need to cut away. Ta-da! See? There's my wig cap. Now we're cutting all of that excess off and we're going to put it back on her head to make sure that it fits how it needs to, and to measure all the other pieces that I need to cut off, like how far down I want her hair to come in her forehead and also in the back. Plus, most Monster High dolls' ears are different shapes, so this is specific for this Draculara's head. And I'm just tightening it up in the back to make it a snug fit. Most dolls, I don't attach their wig permanently to the head. I did have to semi-permanent attach this one. It can be taken off, but I like the idea that you can change their hairstyles with wig caps. And now I'm going to sand down her whole body because I want to do something called body blushing. It actually makes her body look more realistic because I can put a pink tone around her joints and where some of her muscles and contours would be, so that her body just looks a little less doll-like and more realistic. As you can tell right there, Claudine is still really shiny and Draculara is no longer shiny. So now here's the fun part, which is hard for you to see, I'm sorry. But I am gently cutting off Claudine's hair as close as I can to the scalp, and I'm laying it down with glue on here to make wig wefts. That sounds so funny to say. But anyway, back to the doll. We are trying to get some of that brightness out with a green pastel, and it really did work. Used my color scale to go the exact opposite of that bright pink, and I don't think, if I had skipped this step, I don't think it would have turned out as well. And here's some of the body blushing. I know I'm going through this all really fast for you here, but if I didn't, this video would be really, really long. So I'm making sure that the joints and knuckles on her toes have a little bit of pink, and around her kneecaps, and contouring some of the calves and the heel. And then I'm going to go around and do the rest of her body, like around her face, to make it a little bit more long. And going to go ahead and give her some contour around where her wig cap's going to be and in her eye sockets. After each step, when you paint a doll, you have to seal it, and that's not shown in this just because, again, it would be a longer part of the step. But I've already sealed this doll's face several times, and I am now working on the lips and the eyes. It looks really dark, but each time you seal it, the colors sort of blend in a little bit, which gives it this wonderful depth. So I was trying to get pink around the edges of where her eye sockets would be, and a lighter color in the middle where I'm going to be doing her iris. It just gives me sort of a base for where I need to start drawing. Dun, 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 the lovely drawing part. These are watercolor pastels. They are the only things that work on dolls very well, besides paints and watercolor chalk. So right now I am very easy sketching in where I want some of her features to be, like the pupil, the shape of the eye, where her eyebrows are going to go, and some of the highlights around her lips. I will say this takes several times to get right, and I even had to wipe her face almost completely off and start over. While that is sitting, I am going to go ahead and get some of this hair ready to put on her head. So as you can see, I've made the wefts, and I'm just trimming down all of that excess so it's a cleaner edge to work with. Claudine ended up having still curly ends, which I thought turned out gorgeous. So now I'm going to take it and measure and basically just glue them on there how I have set in my mind that I want her hair to look. I knew that I wanted her to have bangs. My friend doesn't have bangs, but I thought they would be super cute, so I kind of combined a style of an artistic rendering of her and some of her dream goals for her hair, as you'll see later. But that's a step on the wig process, and it does take a while because you have to let each layer dry. And so as you're building up the face, you're building up the wig as well. And here I'm working on the lips. Her lips this time actually have like 6+ layers to get the definition that I wanted. Our lips, you can see little lines and things like that, and sometimes that's hard to get on a doll so small. And I know that it's really hard to see in the video, but we finally managed to get them all on there. So now I'm kind of drawing out her eye shape, again in a lighter color than what I'm going to be finishing in. That way any mistakes that I need, I can wipe off if they aren't correct before I move on to the next step. So I'm doing some more contouring and highlighting and getting some of that shading in there for her eyeshadow that's going to show through. I am going to do real eyelashes on this doll just because I love the way that those look. And I was actually really happy with how the eyebrows turned out. They're kind of like a dark rosy color, giving her some depth around the top and bottom of her lips. Adding some highlights. With dolls, I find that it's really nice to try and add all the highlights and the definition that you can, because their face it's not flat, but it's not like ours where you can turn it and see everything. So you have to add that in with your colors. So I'm making the eyes a bit wider and starting to work on the pupils. So I've got a light pink on the bottom right now. I was going for blue and pink, sort of blue and purplish eyes, blending the blue down into the pink. Since her dress has a light pink in there, I kind of wanted to keep those colors going. And right here I am using a bit of powder, mica powder, I think is what it is, to give her eyes some pop. And then I am going in with a brown, almost kind of red color for that wet look around the eyes. Wow, look at how much that has changed since we started out, guys. And like I said, even though these eyes look good right here, I did end up wiping them off and redoing them a little bit differently. Same colors, just I thought I needed some more practice, so. Sometimes even after building up layer and layer of color with the pencils and the pastels, you still have to use watered down acrylic paint to get that definition. So I'm using a bit of that here to get that really black of the pupil and some of that extra white around the outside of the eye. I don't always do that, but in this case I felt it made them pop a whole lot better. Even though her eyes look pretty, the longer she sat there, the more I wasn't happy with them. So even though I thought they turned out well, I did go ahead and take them off, and you can see the final picture of me rendering the new eyes here. I wanted her pupils to be a little bit bigger and a little bit more up in her eye sockets to give her a wider look. And of course I turned them pink with a blue rim and gave her some cute little freckles, as well as bright pink purple eyeshadow. Because her eyelashes are going to be big and real, I needed that eyeshadow to be bright so it would show through behind them. And I'm just adding the little eyelashes on the bottom. Those are drawn in. So very carefully doing tiny, tiny lines in black and brown just so they have depth. And finishing up with some of the highlights in the inner corner of her eyes, as well as along the top of her eyebrows and the top of her lips. And here she is. So I'm done and have sealed off the coloring parts, but now I need to do the eye shines. Most dolls have those really, really shiny eyes, and to give them an extra pop, I wanted to put some stars in her eyes. This doll is dreamy and always thinking of Disney, just like my friend. So since we both love stars, I decided to do that for the main eye shine and just add another dot over to the side of that. I tried 2 eye shines right there, but that didn't really look very well. It covered up too much of the pupil, I thought. So I went ahead and took that off, and here in just a second you'll see me paint on the other side of the eye shine. You can really put those anywhere on the eye that you want. It depends on how you're doing your doll and how you're wanting them to look. I think she turned out beautiful though. Very careful with that tiny paintbrush. We don't want to cover up any of the colors we worked so hard to build up. We just want to accent it and make them pop more. Ta-da! And now we're going to do the fun part. We are going to put on the buttons and the eyelashes. Now, my glue was drying up, so it was a little bit hard to get it to work. And it's always hard to put on actual eyelashes on dolls. Not only is that hard for me to do for myself in real life, but because they are dolls, their skin doesn't move to catch on to them easy. So you really have to work with it how they are positioned to make them look right. But here they are. I do mine in sections and it's easier to get them to look right that way. Here I am adding some varnish to the eyes and the lips to give them that really special shine after everything's dry. It takes 3+ coats of the varnish to make it get that really, really shiny look. And the one of the final pieces I had to make for her was actually a hat. My dear friend loves Disney to death, so of course the whole theme of the doll's outfit was sort of Minnie Mouse. So here I am, I'm just going to make her like a sock hat. And I'm going to end up putting some ears on it too. At this point in time for me, making dolls' clothes is really pretty much trying them on and readjusting because I don't really have any patterns. But it is a great learning experience. I went through about 3 different hats, honestly, before I figured out how I wanted to make this one. And I ended up loving it because this has a rolled over hem on it. And it just really honestly looked like a hat. So I was pleased with how it turned out. And my friend had sent me these really cool baby rattle decor. So I actually cut off the end and used those for the ears. And then I wanted to be adventurous and try some socks out of really shiny, non-stretchy material. You can see all of the pieces here individually. The doll, the socks, the shoes, which I actually painted and blinged out, the skirt, the shirt, a bracelet, the hat, and of course the wig after it's done. So I'm going to show you right now how I put all of this on. And the first step is to take off her arms. See, a great reason I love Monster High dolls is because their body is so disproportionate that sometimes it's hard to make the clothes fitted and be able to get them on. So they've made it where parts are removable so you can still do that. So we've got her shirt, and we're going to slip in the suspender skirt and place them how they need to be on there. And after I get the Velcro put together, I will snap back on her arms. Pop. There you go. And they ended up matching her skin tone pretty well. Like in person you can tell, but they are not as bad as what I thought they were going to turn out, and I know she'll love that I just repurposed them. Now to put on the bracelet, you have to pop one of the arm's hands off. It's not a stretchy bracelet, it's just a little piece of thread with the beads that coordinate the colors we've used in her outfit. And now to slip on the socks. They are actually really gorgeous on this doll, but they are a little bit fragile to get on. So I decided to put the other sock and the shoes on off camera. That way I wasn't tugging and pulling out of focus so much. But there they are. It's finally on and it's time for hair. Woohoo! Now I hadn't figured out quite how I wanted her to style her hair yet. It is parted down the middle so that if she wants to keep it straight or put it in pigtails, you can do that. So there she is. Here's the overview of her before I did her photo op. With each of my dolls, any of the final styling I will take pictures of before they're sent off to their forever homes. So I'll include those here at the end. Isn't she gorgeous? We decided to name her Mirabell, because that's Disney sounding, right? She's in love with Disney just like my friend and had to have some books to show off her great style. Thanks for watching, everybody.